Man, ladies and gentlemen, what can I say? From gold medals to world championship belts, the greatest of all time. She calls herself the GOAT, ladies and gentlemen. She's with us right now. The one and only Claressa Shields is here, baby.
Yes,
come on, Bridge
salute.
Business. Ooh, horse, you see the gun show.
Ooh, see the guns. Ooh.
Claressa, welcome to Bridge Business. You our first woman. You're making history again.
Yes.
You're making history again. You're the first woman on Bridge Business. Wow.
I'm honored. I'm honored. Thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely. After you looking great. You look in shape, champ. Your body look like it's sculpted slightly differently. What's going on with you right now physically?
Physically, I haven't ate meat in over a year. Only thing I eat is fish. And then just getting ready for this camp. I believe I was supposed to fight this girl in May of last year. Been postponed all the way till now, until March. And I went from bench pressing 135 to bench pressing 185. So I've been adding on a lot of power, a lot of muscle, building up my abs. So my body's gonna look completely different for this fight than it's looked before.
That training, is that just a whole new lifestyle for you, or was it because you were doing the MMA training that helped shift the way you train?
I can say it was a lifestyle before the MMA started, but the MMA training has activated different muscles that I haven't ever used in my life. You know, just in the hip flexors with the kicking, a lot of my back muscles and arm muscles just from the wrestling, and just from being on the ground, a lot of muscles in my legs that I don't have to use for boxing that I have to use for MMA. So it's a mixture of all those things, boxing, MMA, and also just a lifestyle.
Is this the hardest fight? Is this the hardest you trained for a fight? As far as for the fights that you had, is this the hardest you trained, or is it just a different way of training?
I've always trained hard for all my fights, whether the girl was considered a threat or, rather she was considered a beast. I've always trained my hardest. I try to up it every camp. So I feel like this camp, I've definitely outdone myself for sure.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? I want to take it back for real. What is it like growing up in Flint, Michigan? Because I see a young lady like you. You're strong. You have a lot of energy. You're well motivated, and to be a boxer from Flint, Michigan. I know a few people from Flint, Michigan. I know Kelly, Mike Muse, a couple of people. David Durrell's a boxer from Flint, Michigan. You're from boxing. What made you want to start boxing? Coming from Flint, Michigan. What was that?
It was motivation from my dad. Honestly, he had been in prison twice. He did a 7-year bid when I was 2, got out when I was 9. And one day we were riding around in his van, and he was super stressed out. And he explained to me, he said, if I were stuck to what I was passionate about, I wouldn't be in this situation. And the situation he was going through was he couldn't get hired for a job because he was an ex-convict. And I asked him, what were you passionate about? And he said boxing. So really at the time when I asked that question, whatever he would have said, I would have done, right? So I'm glad that it was boxing, because I was destined for the sport. And me, wanting to do it for my dad just gave me extra motivation when I was a kid. But my dad didn't want me to box. He told me at the age of 11 years old, he said, you are too pretty to box. Nope, you are just too pretty. You're talented and a lot of other things. Boxing is not a woman's sport. And that was what my dad told me. But he signed me up with the hopes that I would get beat up and quit, and he'd just be able to say, at least I'll let you try it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it just seemed like he let me try it, and it was the best thing that he did for me and for our family.
But were you rough growing up though? Like, did you like to, do a lot of rough things? You had to be, because boxing ain't something you just pick up and just be like, yo, put the gloves on and stuff. Was you like playing rough and stuff like that?
My dad didn't really know me. Like I said, he'd been in prison for 7 years, and he didn't know that I was beating girls up at school. I was fighting boys. I was playing flag football at school. Like, my dad didn't know any of this. Sorry, did I beep out?
You good? You back?
Okay. But my dad just knew that I was a crybaby and that I was super sensitive. That's all my dad knew. So when it was like, you want to box, like, I think my dad looked at me and was like, you don't got no heart, because I was always crying and super sensitive, but he didn't know that I had my own little kid life, beating people up and stuff. He didn't know that. I don't think that my dad really knew that I was taking boxing serious until maybe I was about 13. After boxing for 2 years, he came to my first boxing match. And after my fight, after I won, he was crying. Now, I didn't know what he was crying for. And my dad was actually the first person to tell me, you know, you the greatest boxer that I've ever seen in my life. Like, you box way better than I did. Like, you're the best. And my dad was crying. And that kind of lit another fire in me. It was like, you know, I wonder if I can make my dad cry, who else is crying about how great I am? Wow.
That's dope. That's dope. It's a lot of your opponents that are crying. How great you are. You got a big fight, man. This is the super welterweight championship bout. Marie-Eve Dicaire from, if I said that correctly, from Canada. She's undefeated. You know, and, you know, a lot of people may argue, is Claressa even focused now since she talked about the MMA? We see her in the ring and doing what, with Ms. Holmes. We see her training with MMA, but how focused is she for this fight? And is this an opportunity for this young lady to come and take your glory? I'm sure you've heard some of that. How do you respond to that?
Of course, you know, to everybody who's, you know, worried about if I'm focused, make sure you tune into the pay-per-view fight, www.fighttv. Pay the, you know, $29.95 and you'll be able to find out what I've been focused on. But I like to call myself the focus master. Whatever is in front of me, I focus on it. Like, I've never been thrown off my square due to anything. If there's something or somebody trying to distract me, I always find a way to not let it be a distraction. I block people. I cut my phone off. I delete social media, and I really focus on what needs to be focused on. The last 6 weeks have been nothing but Marie-Eve Dicaire. I've actually put my MMA boxing, my MMA training on hold for right now. But right after the fight, I'll be right back at Jackson Wing Gym, getting ready for my first MMA fight, June. In the middle of June. So people that are, you know, who are worried about that, that's okay. Just know that I'm great enough to do both, and I'll show them up on March 5th.
Let me ask you about that, because what if you ask Nunes to come in the boxing ring, she's gonna say, well, I don't box, I'll do MMA.
Yeah.
You know, if you ask Floyd to go into the MMA ring, mixed martial arts, I box, you got to come do boxing. Folks don't believe you can do both great. I want to ask you a two-part question. Number one, as a boxer, as a woman who's a boxer, is it so hard to really make a great living at it that it's necessary to take on another sport?
Women's boxing is a great sport. I feel like I've accomplished a lot in it. But I think something that when people think about me going MMA is that they forget the big part, and it's the biggest thing to me, is my youth. You know, that's something that I take a lot of advantage of. People like to talk about James Toney, you know, trying men when he was 42, when he was retired, or they want to talk about other fighters who did it and weren't successful in it. And it really hasn't been many. But for me, I'm 25 years old. I haven't even hit the prime of my boxing career yet. Like, I'm successful and I've accomplished a lot of things and I broke a whole lot of records, but I haven't, like, my body hasn't reached its peak of how strong I can be, how hard I can hit, how fast I can be. It hasn't reached its peak yet. So whenever that year comes, when I reach my peak, I think right now is the great time to actually train for MMA and prepare. And it's about having a game plan. I think that my game plan for MMA isn't just to go over there and have one fight and then be like, look, I tried it, I did all right, and it's over. I signed a 3-year contract with the PFL. That's a very lucrative deal. So it's gonna be big checks and big paydays all 2021.
Yes.
And I'm really just focused on humbling myself and to know, because I've always been a humble person, but I've already acknowledged that I don't know how to wrestle, I don't know jiu-jitsu, or I don't know kickboxing. And when I humbled myself, you know, way back in like November, and I did that, and then I went to the Jackson Wing Gym where with like some of the greatest coaches and some of the greatest fighters, I was able to start from the bottom and excel very, very quickly because of my athleticism. How I just accepted that I don't know nothing. So whatever they taught me, I just mixed it in with my boxing, and we've been able to get some great things. Like I'm already kickboxing sparring already. I'm already avoiding takedowns. I'm already taking people down. I know how to do a few chokes, and I'm already drilling off my back just in case if I end up on the ground. It's not like, oh, this is the foreign language to me. I can understand what I'm supposed to do, and that's just what it's about. It's about being smart, learning, and just building off of what you learn and keep going and keep going. And I mean, it's drilling. It's drilling, and that's what I've been doing for the past, November, December, January, February. I actually just stopped in February because I had the boxing match coming up. But after the boxing match, it's right back to Jacksonville Gym preparing for my MMA fight.
Prepare for that fight. I seen you up in the mountains. How you get up in the mountains and stay so focused, throwing them jabs and kicks up there? Come on now, you wasn't a little shook up there throwing them jabs and kicks?
I was cold as hell. What do you mean? I was cold. But if you see the video, I got gloves on, under gloves. But I got on a hoodie under a hoodie. So but you was cold,
you was focused though. Like you wasn't even shook at the height or nothing. I'm looking like, how she get up there? I'm like, yo, she looks so focused up there. I'm like, she ain't shook.
From Flint to the Appalachians.
That was. So speaking of boxing too, when it comes to sparring, how do you pick out sparring partners for you? Far as like, you up for a fight. How is it that you have? Do you spar guys? Is there guys that you spar?
Yeah, have to. It's no disrespect to the women boxing community. I love them, but I'm just a little bit too strong, a little bit too fast, and just to test my strengths and to test my actual win, I always have to spar against the men. And some guys who I sparred against is Anthony Durrell, Andre Durrell. They're like my family from Flint, but I've been sparring them, for years now. Darion Lawson, who's their nephew, I spar with. Leon Lawson. It's a couple other guys who I spar. It's an Olympic silver medalist named Daniel Yusavar, and me and him sparred, and he's an Olympic gold medalist. So I always have to spar against the men, but that's just to help me be best prepared. But I will say I spar against women maybe 2%. And that's but I can't, actually hit them the way that I want to because it's sparring. Sparring is work. But even with the men, even if I shake up a man, I'll always back off because it's sparring, and we actually did a work on something, so that's kind of just how I take it. I can never be as serious in sparring as I am in a real boxing match. It doesn't matter who I'm sparring against.
So you shook up one of the Durrell brothers, is what you're saying? You rattled that clock?
Nah, but it's been a couple guys who I've actually put a beating on, and it's on YouTube and stuff upon YouTube. But I've never posted highlights of me sparring any of my male counterparts because to me it's just chatty. It's like if your sparring partner is supposed to be working on something specifically for you, and you're working on something. And you let's say you do hit your sparring partner with a big shot. I never understood like why you post it because your sparring partner is there to help you, and you're there to help your sparring partner. So I never really understood like the highlights and people cutting up and putting certain parts of sparring because it could be a day where I'm working on a jab and that's all I'm working on, right? But you got me working on a jab and you done slipped and caught me with a right hand hook. And people are wondering, like, dang, she didn't even try to hit him back. And like, yeah, because today I'm working on a jab. My right hand isn't including it today. So sparring is very, very tricky. But some people love to just post it, which I find kind of weird.
So speaking of comparisons, let's say last week there was a comparison of you and Canelo. It was a thing going around Instagram, which y'all hitting the bag at the same time. Hey, let me tell you something. I hit the bag a couple of times. After seeing you hit the bag, I said, you know what? I ain't gonna post my video for real. I said I can't even post my video after seeing you hit the bag. I'm always been impressed by your boxing skills, but I was very impressed by the way you hit the bag, and especially with him on top and they showing him hit the bag. I was like, hey man, that's the same weight class. I mean, this young lady is hitting very hard because you wasn't playing with that. How did you feel about that comparison when you start seeing guys and with Instagram saying, wow, look at these fighters right here?
I mean, Canelo was a great fighter. He's a 4-time division world champion. I'm a 3-time division world champion. I also have 2 Olympic gold medals and he has 0. But I think that I had posted that video to show them because they always look at women boxers as weak, and I guess we punch wild and that we punch slow and all these things. But I'm one of the most skillful boxers in the world, you know. And I wanted to showcase that, and that video got over 250,000 views or whatever. But it was to show that just as great as he is, I'm just as great, and I believe that I may even be a split second faster. But hey, I was able to show that power, show that speed, and just show that women are in the sport. You know what I mean? Like, we're here to stay, and that I'm one of the top dogs. So I'm happy that he liked the video, and he said that he watched my fights, and he's inspired by me, you know. So I was happy to see his response, and I'm just excited for the fight on March 5th. But that was great though.
Yeah, I'm gonna write that down. Claressa Shields says she's faster than Canelo Alvarez. Okay, and you mark that down right there, Horace. Mark that down. Okay, you heard that first on BridgeBizness. I want to ask you this, Claressa. For so many reasons, I think you've been so great for the sport of boxing, especially as a woman who boxes. And to me, other than, you know, there's been a lot of famous women boxers. Layla Ali, to me, was at the top of that. And then you've been the most famous since Layla Ali, in my opinion. Your father once said that boxing isn't a woman's sport. You know, you post a picture of you hitting, you know, simultaneously with Canelo to show folks that it is. This whole event is a superwoman. It's called Superwoman, a boxing celebration, a celebration of women. You indirectly have become an activist in a sense for women in boxing. And I don't think that was necessarily your plan. I don't know, but you kind of wear the shoes well, right? And since you've come out and expressed the plight of many women, I mean, you represent your own voice, but I'm sure that the experiences are similar. Over the years, you've been on our show. You've always stood up for women in boxing. You've been saying, look at us. How come we're not getting paid as much? You know, how come we don't get the same kind of billing, the marquee? I don't even know what the dressing room is like for a woman, if it's the same or not. So since then, what kind of strides have you seen boxing make that's made it probably better for a woman athlete who wants to come into boxing? And then what kind of strides you think it still needs to make?
Well, I just want to, rewind back to 2016 when I was the first woman to box on premium cable up on Showtime, be the main event. They hadn't had women's boxing on ever to be on premium cable until I came. So women's boxing kind of died off. 2001, Layla Ali versus Jackie Frazier did 100,000 pay-per-view buys, and since they fought pay-per-view, no woman boxer has fought pay-per-view until now. And then it's me doing it again. So I would say 2016, I think I made some huge strides. I fought the main event on Showtime, I believe 6 times. I fought for the undisputed title. I became 3-time division world champion, faster than any other boxer in history. I had an all access done on me for Showtime. Just so many things that women weren't getting that I was getting. And by the way, my locker room is fantastic for every fight.
Okay, hello.
My locker room is, but that's the thing that I feel like lacks in women's boxing is that the top women, like they say myself and Layla Ali, when we're at the top, right, some of us don't feel the need to speak about the other women, right? To say, okay, well, I'm getting this, but why is this other girl who's a world champion only getting paid this much money? Or how come she isn't fighting on TV, right? And I think that our sport has lacked to bring the other girls up. I would love that if the same 100,000 people that tune in to Jackie Frazier versus Layla Ali, I wish I knew who those fans were, because I would just add them to my pay-per-view along with my fans, and then they'll be able to see that women's boxing is still alive, and we can keep building off those numbers. But those numbers have been long gone for 20 years. Yeah. So we don't know if those people are still fans of boxing, if they know that boxing still exists for women. We don't know. We just know that in the last 5 years, I know that I feel like I've been carrying the torch of women's boxing pretty well. But there's still so many things that has to be done. And one thing that has to be done is I feel like we need to have our own platform. We need to stop waiting on these networks that are male dominated to give us opportunities, because if it's up to them, we'll never fight and we'll never get paid. and we'll never be good enough, right? But we need to show that we are good enough, because we are. We can do that on our own boxing network. Showtime said to me that I wasn't big enough to be a pay-per-view star. That I didn't have enough followers, or enough people didn't know me, and I'm the most known woman boxer in boxing.
Yeah,
right now, and I have 380,000 organic Instagram followers, and just over my whole social network, maybe over 750,000 followers. Just worldwide. I got a movie coming out about me. I have a documentary already out about me, T-Rex, and I feel like I'm doing more than any other man in boxing is doing, as far as in my accomplishments, how I keep my face in the media, how I'm constantly on different talk shows. I was on the Titan show with The Rock.
Yeah.
It's just so many things that I've been doing, and the men aren't. So when they speak of, these numbers and things like that, I always question, like, what exactly, which part of it that I'm not good enough? Is it because I don't have a penis, or is it because what exactly is it?
Yeah.
Because it can't be the numbers, because I had some of the biggest numbers on Showtime. I have 430K views from my fight against Hannah Gabriels, and the men who they have fighting now are getting 125,000, 150,000 views, but my numbers were never that low on Showtime.
Do you think, because when you look at mixed martial art, if I say Ronda Rousey, people know who she is. Holly Holmes. If you say Nunes, people know who she is, and that's just three names I threw out there. It's not in boxing. The women aren't promoted as such. What are marquee names? It's usually just that one person. I mean, there's other boxers, obviously, but it's your name that brings attention. Do you think the sport of boxing has been lackluster in promoting the women in boxing? Because when you think of MMA, we know a lot of these women fighters. We know their names.
Well, I think I know in MMA that Dana White has fully believed that his business will flourish if he give the same opportunities to the women that he gives to the men. He's the smartest man in combat sports, because he's the first to do that, the first to believe that. And that's why UFC is one of the biggest brands, biggest combat sports that there is. It's one of the biggest sports under football and basketball and maybe baseball. But then right under is UFC and MMA. So I would say that boxing has been lacking, because all they have to do is put women's boxing on all the cards. Every boxing show that they have should have at least one woman fighter, whether she's the main event, whether she's the co-main event, whether she's a TV opener. And that's all it takes. We don't want to just have all women cards. We don't want to say forget the men. We're saying add us to that, and that will help build up our fan base, our numbers, bring more attention to our sport. And people will start paying attention, like, look, it's another female boxing match on. But boxing just cannot do that. The only network right now who is doing that is The Zone, which is kind of UK based. But there's no network here in America that is constantly putting on women's boxing. And it was Showtime. And the only reason that Showtime had other women on the card that I was fighting up on TV was because I would say something to them. I would say, hey, my opponent, she got fans and everything, but let's help build her fan base up. So when me and her fight, it could be more viewers. So that was my way of getting other women on the card. And they would listen. And that's how me and Christina Hammer ended up fighting. That's how me and Hannah Gabriels ended up fighting. And Christina Hammer was on the undercard. I've always had to have a woman undercard fight under me to lead up to our fights. And I've been able to help some girls build up their brand, build up their fan base. But it just takes more than one. It just takes more than one athlete, more than one fight card to get the job done. And I feel like whichever promoter, whichever network get behind the women and really pay us and put us on TV and give us equal promotion, equal fight time, he's gonna be a very, very rich man, because women's boxing is popping just like MMA. And I feel like they're gonna make me hit the lottery for 10 million, and then once I come out with the all women's boxing network, they're not going to be able to
I
make
like
any
that.
money off of us.
I like that. Bridge business,
That's
though. I like that you got it first on All Women's Network. Real quick, Hannah Gabriel's, I never saw you go down.
Yeah.
You know, that shocked me when I saw you hit the canvas. What was that like for you? Like, what through your head? Did you do you think, oh shit, this girl might be bringing more than I thought? Like, what was that? No? Okay, I've never been knocked down.
I had thought she caught me with a punch where my feet was off balance and I went down to the ground. If you watch the film, I looked at the ground, both sides. I'm like, and I thought to myself, what the hell are we doing down here?
Yeah.
But all I did was take a deep breath, get up. I wasn't wobbled. And when I went back to the corner, my coach was cool as a cucumber. He's like, hey, you all right? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. And he was like, next round, I want you to go out there and do exactly what you were doing. Just watch out for the uppercut. And I was like, all right, cool. I went out there and I won the next 2 rounds. And then I put a beating on her for the rest of the fight.
Okay, damn it. All right.
But it didn't shake me up in no way or form. Never did I think about, oh, should I get back up or anything like that. It was more of a, you know what, I gotta keep my cool and not get pissed off because she got some punching power. But I was able to show her that I had boxing skills, punching power, and I was able to take whatever she gave and I was able to give it out double and triple. So looking forward to having a rematch with her sometime down the line also, if she wants it.
If she wants the smoke. Okay.
Yeah.
I agree with you about social media because I follow you on social media and I follow your YouTube page and stuff like that. And there's a lot of inspiration and motivation that you get off. Like you introduced me to a song by is his name Frank Fortune? Is that his name, Mr. James Fortune? It was James Fortune.
Okay.
It was still, and it was a great. So I thought it was Kirk Franklin, but then I started listening to this guy's music and I was like, wow, she's really inspirational, man. She got a good message about peace. And I feel like, it shows a different side of you because most of the time when people see you, it's game time. You mad, you walking in the ring mad, you don't want to talk. So when I see you on social media dancing and partying and, have a good time with your friends, even training at the same time, it just shows a different side. So do you think that more women should follow that lead that you put out there, like, show a different side of you so people can start following the movement?
Absolutely. I feel like a lot of women in boxing too are not really realizing how important social media and their brand is. And honestly, your brand don't have to be the same as mine. Right now, my brand is beauty and bronze. Like, I'm a beautiful woman. I have a great shape, but I can whoop ass, And so I'm a woman first, but I'm a boxer second. But also too, me being on top of a woman and being a boxer, I'm a daughter, sister, auntie, and it's just so much that like that comes with being a woman. I'm a businesswoman, and you have to let that be known and show that. But a lot of people just kind of want to be secretive, or they think that like the people are just going to come and watch them and pay attention. And it's like, no, we have to keep our face out there. We have to give people something to look forward to and let them in our life just a little bit, and that's why I started my YouTube channel. I feel like I got so many videos and so many things that I do just on a regular basis. And I don't do nothing with the footage, and I post on Instagram and I get my followers up, but I don't get paid off of Instagram. I don't get paid off Facebook, but I get paid off my YouTube channel. So
there you go.
That's just, just another business avenue. And those videos will make money for life, but people make money off of me going live. Like, soon as I go live, people start pressing screen record, and they screen record it. The next thing I know, it's on YouTube, and they got over 500,000 views on YouTube. They're getting paid off of that, but it's a video of me.
Ain't that a crazy thing? Like, you see your video, you go on a platform, they got 1 million. This person got a couple 100,000, and you got 500 views.
Yeah,
that's crazy. But your business sense too, I think, is important. Like, and you've expressed, I've watched you for years, Claressa, as long as you come up on the show, and I watch you build your brand, like, and it feels like it's always been you building it. But you mentioned, YouTube being another stream of revenue. Where have you been successful business-wise outside of the ring since you started boxing?
I have been successful up in Sorry, I beep out.
You good now.
Yeah, back in like 2016, 2018, that's when I really started looking at the business of boxing and the business that I like where I can make money. So I started off with just my boxing uniform and my boxing trunks. You know, other networks or other companies will want to put their logo on my clothes because I'm fighting on national TV. Everybody's watching me. I eat super healthy. So it started off with I think I want to say Aldo's or what's the name of that? Doles, D-O-L-E-S.
Mm-hmm.
And they paid me $10,000 to put a big old thing on my robe that said Doles or Doles fruit because I eat Doles fruit.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted to get that exposure, and they got great exposure off of me fighting on that my pro debut. I was the first woman to fight at the T-Mobile Arena. This when it first opened up in Las Vegas on the Andre Ward Kovalev card. One. Mm-hmm. And then I seen I could make money off of that, and then I started seeing, you know, just with the pandemic, I made a lot of money off of just doing like virtual training online. I was training people for an hour, charging them $100, but I would actually teach them boxing, teach them how to eat, teach them how to work out, how to do certain body targeting. You want to have tighter abs, you do these workouts. You want to have tighter arms, you do these kind of workouts, and bigger back. And I was able to meet a lot of people, and I had virtually trained over 40 to 50 people, and that was just doing just the pandemic. And then after the pandemic, you know, just my mind started flowing, and I see people were selling Claressa Shields merchandise, like putting my picture on shirts and stuff from fights. And I just was like, you know, I need to build my own website. So I spent months working on my website, which it's a website where I just sell merchandise, but now we're going to get broader and add like the storytelling on the website, promoting the YouTube channel, put the Instagram on there, share some of my childhood. But I just wanted to get the website first, buy the website, get me a new design for my shirts and my clothes, and me be able to sell my own product and make my own money. So I've made, I don't know, maybe 7, 8 to even 10,000 just off selling my own merchandise, and I haven't had to put that much money into it.
Yeah.
So that's where it like comes to business is like, yeah, you got to spend money to get things done, but you also have to look at, okay, now that you made your money back, then you start counting your revenue. So it's something you just have to learn as you go. But I was really just more thinking about like what other incomes can I have besides boxing? Because I haven't boxed in a year, but all my bills are paid, everything is in order. And it's a good thing that I have some kind of business sense because the boxing money isn't that much and it goes fast.
Yeah.
You know, it goes fast, especially when it's not coming in. So just having that business mindset. And now my YouTube channel, you want to know what's going on inside my life? I'll give you a snippet on Instagram, but the behind the scenes is on my YouTube channel that I've been getting over 20,000 views on certain videos, 25. I show people how to box on there. I got to do boxing lesson 101, 4, 5, and 6 this week because 1, 2, and 3 got 25,000 views. So they want to see what's 4, 5, and 6. And I just showed them little snippets of my technique. But that's who I am. I love to train people. I love talking to people. I love kids. I just love boxing. And once I get into this fashion thing, it's going to be something else too. Because I love to dress up and wear nice clothes. So it's definitely just opening more broad things.
We seen it.
Who's T-Rex? Where did you get the name T-Rex from?
I got that name from my sparring partner. The first guy I ever sparred, name was Darian Lawson. We were talking about boxing nicknames, and I guess everybody in the gym had one except me, and they were like, you know, how about Claressa Reese Cup? And I'm like, stripper name. I'm calling her Reese Cup. Like, what? And then some other guy was like, how about Claressa Thundercat? And I'm like, come on, bro. Like, y'all got so many stripper names, it's ridiculous. Like, no. And then my sparring partner was like, Claressa T-Rex. And I was like, the dinosaur? And he was like, yeah, because back then I was tall, but my arms hadn't really caught up yet. So I was super aggressive. And some of my sparring partners used to just hold their arm out to where I couldn't reach them. And I would just be trying to swing my hardest, like, trying to get to them. So he said, I looked like a T-Rex when I was doing that. Right. So I I just looked up the T-Rex and I said it a couple times. And I always looked at myself as being super powerful, aggressive, and being the beast. And it was like, you know what? Claressa T-Rex Shields is definitely my name. It definitely sticks to how I box. So that's my name.
I love it. Well, Claressa, I want to thank you for being on Bridge Business. I feel like this is a really enlightening conversation, but it is right in cue to what I've been hearing you talk about over the years. And even hearing your business plan now makes so much sense. You know, I saw you post your Valentine's Day. You and Tony were hanging out on Valentine's Day, and I thought, wow, Claressa has come a long way. You know what I mean? Like you're totally open now. It remind me of the Eminem scene from 8 Mile Horse when M just said he just let everything out. He gave him everything. So now you ain't got shit to say about me. You know, and I feel like I'm seeing that on your social and everything. But 2 questions. Who would be your dream fight in MMA? That's the first question. And then I want to talk about this fight this weekend. I want to make sure you're not overlooking it and that you're truly prepared for what's about to take place.
I got you.
So, dream fight.
My dream fight will be me versus Amanda Nunes. And I say that because she lit a fire in me when she did her interview and they asked her would she box against me in a boxing match, and she said, no, you know, I'm not a boxer, but tell Claressa Shields to come to my world and I'll choke the shit out of her. When she said that, he just was like, you think I'm gonna come in here and just lay down and just let you choke me, you know? But it was more of like the competitive spirit in me came up, and I was like, you know what? I want to train and I want to drill so damn hard for the next couple of years that when they mention me and her name in the MMA match, and they mention my name and they mention her name, people will say, she can't just go on there and choke her out. Like, she gonna have a fight on her hands. I want them to be able to say, we don't know who's gonna win. So I may not be ready for that challenge right now because I love her MMA. She's a beast, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But once I learn all those other disciplines and I add to my arsenal, I believe in 2 to 3 years, she won't be saying that she'll choke the shit out of me.
2 to 3 years. Okay. And then, okay, that's smart. You being smart, because it'll take that long. That she is who she is and not taking anything away from her.
Just like if she come trying to mess with me in boxing, she gonna get her ass whooped.
Yeah. Now let's talk about.
Say she got the best hands, but she come over to boxing. Oh man, I'll smash her.
She nice though, but I see what you mean. And then with Marie-Eve Dicaire, she's a knockout artist. You know, she will. Well, I don't know. I know she's undefeated.
17 wins. She's undefeated.
She's undefeated, right? I remember you talking about learning. You don't have as many knockouts as a person would think you would. Like, because I don't see nobody who hits harder than you. So I don't understand how.
Yeah.
That's the sweet science. That's where I digress, right? How important is it to you to finish this fight in a spectacular way instead of beating her on the cards, knocking her out?
It's very important to me at this point because it's just not a regular fight. You know, this isn't just main event on Showtime. This is a pay-per-view fight where my fans have tuned in to see a spectacular performance. And even though I feel like all my performances have been good and I'm 10-0 with 2 knockouts, I'm supposed to be 10-0 with probably 5 knockouts because it was 3 girls who I just beat the shit out of, who had no chance of winning the fight, and who went home with headaches and knots all over their head. But the ref didn't stop the fight, and I didn't continue to put enough power to break through that person's defense, right? And I mean the defense of them covering up, blocking, bracing for punches. And I always want to stay looking sharp and stay looking, landing my shots and have everything together. But for this fight, I'm gonna go in there and start breaking her will and her confidence first round. And I believe, Sway, that she's 17-0 and she doesn't want to lose and everything like that. But I'm gonna break her spirit so bad that by the 6th round, she's either gonna want to quit or she's not gonna come out the corner, because I'm gonna punch her so hard that she's gonna feel the year of frustration of me being outside the ring, of me having to really promote this fight without her, because she knows she's showing all her weaknesses right now. She hasn't really been promoting the fight. She don't want her fans to see her get her ass whooped. You know, so she don't want them to tune in. So it's like I'm all over social media. I'm inboxing all my famous friends and superstars, telling them to post a flyer to tune in to the fight. And she's kind of just sitting back, you know, relaxing. So I feel like it'd be a moral victory for her to go all 10 rounds with me, because I am a beast and I am a savage. But I'm gonna show her that I'm not gonna give her that satisfaction. I'm gonna go out there, and I believe 5th, 6th round she should be done. But even if she's standing there, I want her to know I'm gonna swing so hard every round that if I don't get the knockout at the end of the fight, I won't be able to stand up. I won't be able to breathe. I'm gonna try that hard to get her out of there. I'm gonna be on the ground and they're gonna be holding my hand up. I'm not gonna be able to stand up. That I tried so hard to get her out of there. So that's what happened.
That's what we want to hear.
Yeah.
That's what we want to hear.
Is this the first Is this the first southpaw that you had to fight? Because she's a southpaw. So
in the pros?
Yeah, no, I'm a southpaw. She's a left-handed fighter. So is it in pro?
Yeah. She's the first southpaw pro that I've had to fight, but she isn't the first undefeated fighter that I've taken out. I've taken out, I don't know, 4 or 5 undefeated fighters, and Christina Hammer being 24-0, 11 knockouts when I was 8-0, and I was able to put that one on her record. And I love fighting against undefeated fighters because they bring a little bit more to the table. And no one wants to lose their nobody. There is nobody who you can ask in boxing who's undefeated, like, hey, you know, can you wait to get your first loss? Nobody ever wants that. So I know she's gonna come out there, she's gonna try, but she'll try to keep it. And that's where the fight will begin at. When she realizes she has to fight to keep her O. And when she realized that I don't care about how hard she's gonna fight, that I'm gonna break her will. Then that's when you'll also see a different kind of fight too. I really want to see where her heart is.
Okay, I love it. Claressa Shields, the GOAT, ladies and gentlemen. Round of applause. Pay-per-view, March 5th. Make sure you watch Marie-Eve Dicaire try to take all that's Claressa Shields in a super welterweight championship fight. Man, I love it. Congratulations and continue.